Hey everyone, my name is Vickie Simos and I'm the founder and host of the Boxer Within podcast. In this series, I will be chatting to those who care for young people on the spectrum with mental health issues and developmental issues. We will discuss their struggles, learn more to understand about their challenges and the joys that goes with looking after the vulnerable. We will also discuss the impact that martial arts has had on these young people. Lastly, I will also invite experts to share their opinions. We will discuss the impact that martial arts has had on these young people. I will also invite experts to share their opinion on the topic. If you would like to know more, reach out and follow me, Vickie Simos, on all social channels. To learn more about my approach with martial arts and mental health, please visit the website on the screen. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe and tune in for the next episode of the Boxer Within podcast.
Okay, everyone, I'd like to welcome Nicolle to the podcast. Thanks so much for being here. After reading some of your little bio, you've had quite a journey. Can you paint a picture of where you are right now in life with your two teenage boys?
With the boys, well, it's been a big journey, especially with school. So I've got two boys, 16-year-old and 14-year-old. The eldest has been on two different high schools, and two different primary schools. The youngest has been to 5 schools in total. So it may seem like we're school jumpers, but we're actually working with what the kids need, and they're both at different high schools.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Wow. Did you want to elaborate on that and why so many high schools and primary schools?
Well, especially because my eldest, as you know, Vickie, he has autism and ADHD. So in year 2, he was diagnosed ADHD, and we're at a school which was bilingual, and he was struggling academically. At that stage, I thought maybe dyslexia or some sort of learning disability, which potentially is still there anyway. But so we left that school to go to a Reggio-inspired, which I'm not sure if you know is it's more play-based, it's child-centred, so it's he could do things that he was interested in, which is actually all children will work better with what they're interested in, but especially children that have ADHD. And then during COVID, he did year 6, and we got him diagnosed autistic. And then he started high school, which was just our local high school, just up the road, and it was a horrendous experience. I don't think he was bullied, but because he didn't really understand a lot of social sort of cues, he was targeted. Or he may not have been targeted, but it was sort of a situation that he didn't understand what was going on, where all the other boys were just doing whatever they were doing and laughing and getting on. He felt he had to be on high alert the whole time because he didn't really want them to do it, didn't know how to stop them from doing it, and he then sort of was just walking like with his back against the wall and just high alert constantly. So, and it was around then that I actually spoke to a friend who has a child on the spectrum as well that saw Vickie, and we thought that he needed to, I guess, talk about what was going on to someone else other than us. He wouldn't talk to a psychologist, just sitting down. But while that was happening, we pulled him out of that school because the principal wasn't supportive, and it was boys will be boys, that's just what they do, that real misogynistic sort of attitude of you just got to get over it, or did you want to report it to police? So it was sort of like, do you want to drag your child through this horrible experience with the police, or do you want to, just get over it? So we left and sent him to another school. It took him a little while to make friends, but he has made loads of undiagnosed, but I think neurodiverse friends, and he is loving life.
That's really good to hear. But let's go back a little bit.
Yeah.
So in that instance of having to find out about the diagnosis, how did it affect, I guess, obviously him, number one, and yourself as well?
when Eli got diagnosed with ADHD, we didn't actually tell him at the start. We just, I guess, supported him and talked to the schools. And at that stage, we didn't think he needed to know because he wasn't the extreme climbing the walls, sort of needing medication sort of stuff. He was more of the inattentive. So we didn't really talk about it until he got diagnosed with autism, because the psychologist who read out the report, because it was online during COVID, said he was previously diagnosed with ADHD. And I was like, okay, now he knows. Like, well, it wasn't a secret. It just hadn't come up and he didn't need to know. And it was just sort of, but it was, and we just sort of talked about it afterwards. And he goes, oh, no, that's cool. I'm okay with that. I know authors that have ADHD. I know this, I know that. And it's like, it's fine. And then we was like, okay, and there's also autism. And he was like, I don't know much about that. So we talked about it, and he was a bit, didn't really want the autism. Like, he didn't want to have that label, but he just kind of got on with it. And he started year 7 at the high school that wasn't great with medication, which possibly wasn't the best thing for him anyway, because in the end he decided that he didn't like it and it made him feel worse. He felt angry at everybody that was nearby and couldn't make friends. So it may not have been a great for starting high school, where we thought it was a great sort of start. But he was okay with it, didn't tell anyone. Close friends and family knew, but everyone was like, you sure? He doesn't look it. The usual, he doesn't, it's not like Rain Man, or he's, the typical sort of stereotypes that people have. But he's basically just sort of got on with things until he got a little bit later in life, when it was becoming a little bit more obvious to other people, or I don't know, maybe I learnt more or everyone else was learning more around us, that he then sort of went, I don't think I am. I don't think I have ADHD. I think that's a farce. And so it was sort of a really interesting journey for him to now come back to, I don't have it, I don't want it. But we don't tell anyone, we don't talk about it to anyone. He has select friends that know, that don't care, and but I think it's still in school, high schools especially, that it's like an insult. It's thrown around as, oh, you're autistic. So I think that's the thing. He doesn't want to be identified with a stereotype, even though it is such a broad sort of spectrum. And he's on the gifted side of things as well, so he's extremely intelligent. So that's probably why other people couldn't notice, because he's high masking, because he's got the ADHD, autism clashing against each other, and then he's high intelligence. So he's sort of, as everybody is, we're all our unique little selves. But, yeah, so at the moment he's at the, I don't think I've got it, I don't want it. But I just say one day you'll get to a stage where you'll appreciate it, but also actually more so during high school when things go wrong. He said, I don't have any problems. I'm not autistic. I sort of went, well, do you remember how we did this, this, and this? Or I worked really hard with the teachers. You had these little cushions to sit on at school, or you did these. They're all little things that I was doing in the background, just churning behind, organising and talking, and sort of. And he was like, oh, yeah, thank you, but still I don't have it.
You know what? Sometimes maybe, what do they say? Ignorance is bliss. Not that I'm calling ignorant, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess from his perspective, it must be hard, because you're in high school, you're in a school where people don't understand a lot of what's going on, and as you said, that word gets thrown around a lot. What do you think needs to happen in schools now to make people understand a bit more? Teachers, principals, etc.
It's so hard, because it's not, I don't believe it's the school's responsibility. I think it's the parents. I think it's the society as a whole. So all of my friends and all the people that I'm surrounded by are neuroaffirming. So whether they're autistic or they have a diagnosis, or they just are accepting of people as they are. So I surround myself with that. So I don't have to deal with the judgment and the stupid things that people say, but it's teaching and educating the parents to teach their children to not be assholes. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on here.
You can say whatever you want.
Not be assholes to people just because they're different. They don't fit the box. And I think our house is actually quite a house because we are a neuroaffirming and because we're supportive of all shapes, sizes, differences. We have so many kids that Mason, my youngest, is friends with, come over, and like one kid comes and checks our toilet and says, "Have you done a poo today?" to my youngest, and he was like, "No," and it's like, "Okay," and then just leaves. So we're like, "Okay, bye. See you next time." Sort of like, so their family and we are supportive of everybody. So it's sort of, and I think that's the hard thing, because I know the schools try, and I'm actually a teacher myself, although early childhood. So being in education, there's only so much you can do, so much hand-holding of the children and the parents. It's just sort of, it's like it has to come from, but until, I guess, the next generation comes who are more understanding, more accepting, will hopefully be less and less.
Yeah, and that, I guess, just comes from knowledge and resources. And as we learn more about it, that's what's going to help people understand, and giving, offering a bit of empathy and kindness and understanding, really.
Yeah,
but on the note of the early childhood, how did we go from, I was reading your bio and it was marketing, and then you went into early childhood teaching. Do you want to give us the audience a bit of an idea how that sort of came about?
Well, without actually having a diagnosis, I believe I'm ADHD, maybe autistic as well. But if you look at my job, my resume, you'll probably say yes, definitely. Because
probably looks like mine, so same thing.
Yeah. So I've worked in a fish and chip shop. I've worked as a parts delivery driver for Mazda. I've worked at call centres. I've worked at in bars, being a door bitch at like a nightclub, like Bubbles, which was like, no one drinks alcohol there, sort of stuff. So all these sort of really random jobs. When I was pregnant with Eli, I studied disability care and home and community care. So I knew I wanted to work with disability before I even knew Eli had a disability. I went into that and then had him, and then 2.5 years later had a second. So I didn't actually work, so I stayed home. But when my youngest was in kinder, the teacher was just so passionate and so lovely and so understanding and very amazing with neurodiverse people, not just kids, families, that I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to work with kids. I want to support kids. I want to help. I want to be this. So I started studying part-time while being a mum to 2 little boys, very busy boys.
Good on you, because I don't know that I could do that, and I've got no kids. So how did you manage that? How did you manage that?
I don't know. Late nights, especially because like another sort of spanner in it, I have a narcolepsy gene, so I'm a very tired person.
Wow, did not know that.
In the family. We're a very neuro family. So I used to stay up late and do essays, and I'm not a half-assed person. That's probably where Eli gets that from. So I did the best I could.
All or nothing.
Yeah, all or nothing, bullet a gate, all of those things.
Beautiful.
It took me 6 years.
Good on you. Good on you, because most people would have given up halfway through, especially raising 2 kids, obviously being mum and, housework and all the domestic stuff and running around.
Yeah.
So I take my hat off to you.
Thank you.
Very good. And I've also had a look at that. Now you're working 3 different jobs.
Again. It's more, I think, the balance. So I was working in early childhood, so teaching in kinders, sessional, so just the 15 hours a week. I was working out at Wyndham, which is quite a diverse community. Right after COVID, it was just intense, and there's so much support and so much trauma and things going on in that little area of the world as well. But and a lot of family deaths in Australia and in New Zealand for my husband, that I just did not have the capacity to be everything for everyone, because you're not just the teacher there at this, you're teaching children and families, and you are connecting them to sort of supports that like born in the country or speak English is your first language, you just know you can access, whereas these families are so vulnerable. So I just did not have the capacity. So I went casual and still within the Wyndham area, and I was getting adjusted at my chiro, and she could see I was a bit tired, and she's like, "Do you want to work here?" And I'm like, "Sure, what do you want me to do?"
Great.
It's like, why not?
Who needs a resume and applications?
No,
You can just go see chiro.
She'd known me for probably a year of going there regularly. She's actually treated both the boys.
Oh, nice.
She's the most amazing person. Like she does a lot of things to do with neuro sort of things. But she so I just started working. Well, I'm actually a chiropractic assistant. So it's a random name, although I do nothing to do with the chiropractic stuff. So I'm doing reception, but they have a lot of young children and a lot of homeschool families coming through, because they're not usual sort of cracking chiro. They're the sort of gentle sort of adjustments. So they have a lot of sort of quite neurodiverse families come through as well. So it was perfect. So I was getting my fix of being with children for that short amount of time, while their parents are getting adjusted and having their whatever they needed, and sort of. I was doing everything at once, and it's such a calm, gentle, very family, women sort of orientated sort of place. So it's been really amazing. So I do that 3 days, and so it's office manager as well. So I'm doing all the pays and all sorts of things.
I'm tired just hearing all of that. Oh, my God.
It's not actually tiring. It's really lovely. And then,
not for someone who doesn't sleep, no.
Yeah. And then I'm doing casual still at kinder teaching, and I'm also doing support work with a little person. So I do that on the weekend for a couple of hours. Yeah. Nice. So I'm getting the balance. I'm here for the kids. I'm working to be able to support and contribute, and also fill my bucket.
That's beautiful. That's really, really nice. Let's just backtrack a little bit with the COVID. You mentioned you had a few family losses. Number one, I'm really sorry that happened. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and how you navigated through that?
I
get you don't have to. If you feel like it's too much, we can move on.
I don't know if you remember me telling you. Do you remember?
Vaguely. Look, it's been a couple of years, so.
Yeah. My mother-in-law had a sister dying. So she actually was terminally ill, and
I'm sorry.
No, that's right. It's been a few years, 3 years now. So she was actually and it was probably one of the early stages in New Zealand, and the first Māori person to go down this track. But we're there for all of that. So I got to be there while she passed away, and go, and because my husband is Māori, Maori, the funeral, the tangi is like 4 or 5 days. So it's like
I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
It's an amazing cultural experience, but it's very confronting when you come from a sort of very tight white. You go there.
I do know.
you bury them or cremate them, and then you go and have a little cup of tea and some sandwiches, and then go home.
That's pretty much our Greek way as well.
Yeah. So whereas here, like at the Māoris, they celebrate the person and they welcome on, and it's all this singing, and some of it's very monotonous. Maybe halfway between the two would be perfect for me, but it's just the talking about the person and the people and being around people constantly, and the kids, that's that community, that sort of village that we don't have here, that the kids I was like, where are the kids? I was like, I don't know, they're down the road with the locals. And they're like, okay, all right.
But we're not used to that here, right?
No. But everyone's a nanny and everyone's a grandfather or an auntie or an uncle, and it doesn't matter. They're not scared to tell them to behave. So I knew that they were safe.
Yeah. Well, it takes a village. That's what they say, right?
Yeah, definitely. But and then when we buried my mother-in-law, I think it was a little bit later, my grandmother passed away, and then my niece's baby, who was Prem, passed away, and in Perth, and then I can't even remember. I tried not to.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right. And then my brother-in-law in New Zealand, he had cancer and he passed away. So, and yeah, it was just like
a lot. Yeah,
like 2 years of so much. I know everyone was going through lots, but it's just like I was just drowning. Yeah. But it was really hard because I'm a very emotionally connected sort of person. And when you've got Eli, who's so black and white with things and all very literal in his thinking, having to sort of navigate that of talking about things, because he's also very emotional. Like you know that stereotype that they have no emotion, like no empathy or compassion.
They do. They actually have more empathy than non-neurodivergent. Yeah.
I agree, because like I know if I'm ever watching a movie and I'm crying, I know that Eli will be feeling it too. So it's sort of, I know that he
feels things.
He processed it, but his way of processing was going for walks and going for climbs or finding something to swing off. Or
I know all about that when he was. Oh my God!
Yeah, he's physical, like, and which is amazing. He's from you. We have to talk about that because he's just gone.
Yes, we do. Please.
That helps his mental health.
Yeah,
a million times. So. Yeah.
On that note, what made you sort of bring him? How did you find me, and what made you think that martial arts might be a way to help him?
Well, I did a bit of karate when I was younger, and I think that I really loved it. It was
nice,
many years ago, and I think that physical and that the karate there was routines. And I think that really helped. And the boys did taekwondo before COVID, although Eli liked that. It just wasn't physical enough. He needed to be doing more sort of sparring. But the reason why I came to you is because I had a friend whose son was being bullied at the same primary school that my kids went to, and she said it was amazing, and I saw it all over Facebook that she was like, if you ever want to go here, anyone. This is amazing. You need to go see Vickie. And then I was speaking to another friend who has a child that has autism, and I was saying, what do you think? Like, we're just talking about it. And she's like, just call. Like, what's the worst that can happen? You go for trial. He hates it or doesn't, whatever. But he loves it. Like, I think he's learning and processing. Eli needs to move. And moving and being physical allowed him to free up his emotions to talk and to express what he needed to do. And I think that's what I think was amazing about what you guys did. Sometimes you may not have talked about anything deep, but it left him the space to be able to go, yeah, this was really shit today at school, or I didn't like this, or mum's annoying the crap out of me, because he's very clear at telling me that now. But yeah, so I think that was the reason, and I knew that he's very physical, and I think that the boxing was really, I think, was amazing, and he just loved going there and just sweating and working his butt off.
He certainly did. Did. And I saw a lot of changes as well. But what kind of, I know we've touched on it a bit, but what kind of changes did you see in terms of confidence, self-esteem, those types of things?
Well, he definitely, because I think he just moved to the new school. I can't remember exactly when we started, but he just moved to this new school. So he was obviously then having to try and make new friends, or to sort of navigate the whole sort of new situation without medication as well. So he, at that stage, decided he didn't want to do medication. And he just felt like he just used to come home and say, I actually just spoke to a kid next to me playing the same game on his computer where he wouldn't have before. Like, so there was never the reason I did this is because I went to Vickie.
Yeah.
It's just things that I saw coming out of it. And I think where he's now, he's every lunch and recess he's doing basketball or doing handstands, or he's like very physical. So it made him engaged with other children or other students that are sort of like-minded in that physical sort of sense. And I think building his confidence with his body and his strengths with you helps that.
Yeah.
And he desperately wanted to do boxing after we stopped seeing you, but it just never happened.
Oh, well, you know where to find me.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, I've changed addresses, so I'll have to tell you.
I know.
But anyway, on a completely different note, well, on that same sort of thing, I guess, in talking about the neurodivergence and finding out those diagnoses, I read that you sort of had some struggles navigating the system.
Well,
if you want to talk about that, you don't have to.
I can. It's just where do you start? Like it's really isolating being a parent, a mother of neurodiverse of children these days anyway, but just of neurodivergent children, because you have a dream, you have an image of when you give birth to this little person, and when you get a diagnosis or you realise that he doesn't fit that little mould or that little box that society needs them to be in, you mourn that person that they were going to be. And that's really hard and it's really isolating. I think especially, obviously can only speak for myself because I'm a mother, but as a mother, because you invest so much energy and time into these little people, and he's right now, that person, I don't care who that he was going to be. He's going to be more amazing. So it's fine. But I guess getting that diagnosis, the teacher just like, no, he's fine. Grade 2. He's like, there's nothing wrong with him. And I was like, He was bouncing on my lap at 10 months old. Like he was not moved, sitting still. And he was and everything I did, leading up to the first diagnosis, was I didn't take him out in the afternoon because I knew that he wouldn't cope. I did things in the morning. Everything I did was to accommodate him. And I don't think people know how much energy goes into supporting and changing things to suit this little person. But
I appreciate you saying that, and sorry to cut you off, because I think there's a lot of people out there that are really unaware of what it takes to have to look after someone or navigate your journey with someone who's neurodivergent. So thank you so much for sharing that.
But then when I got the diagnosis, everyone's like, no, he doesn't. He's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. I was like, I know there's nothing wrong with him, but he has ADHD, and this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to make changes. And here's some things to read, especially my mum, like the older generation that go, no. But especially me, like the first thought of ADHD was like those, the news article, like news when we were growing up, of these kids smashing holes in walls. I know that there is some children that does come out, that their emotional regulation is like 0. But I was like, that's not my kid.
That's most Europeans, so it's all right. I don't think it's ADHD. I can say that for myself.
Not really. But yes, so there was like this sort of misunderstanding, and then when we got that autism diagnosis, I cried, but then I also went, yes, I was right. My gut. That's the thing I need to tell anyone who's listening: follow your gut. Don't listen to anyone else, even if they say they're experts and they put you say no, it's not true. Listen to your gut.
A mother knows, right?
They know. And obviously by studying, like any time I could do an assignment that was to do with ADHD, autism, or anything about neurodivergence, I did that. I actually went, okay, I'm going to take on that and I'm going to learn more. And I went to conferences and I did lots of things because I wanted to know more. I wanted to be Eli's advocate. I wanted to make sure that he felt supported, he felt loved, and the world change is around him to support him, not him changing himself, because it shouldn't be that way, because he is such an amazing kid.
He certainly is, and I can attest to that. He certainly is. Wow, that's really nice to share. Thank you very much. I think it's going to help a lot of people where you're sharing your story, and those people that don't have, kids that are on the spectrum or neurodivergent to hopefully understand as well. Because I can imagine, and not to play devil's advocate, but if you've never experienced it, how are you going to know? Yeah. And we've grown up in a world where, it's obviously just it's nothing. It's a learning difficulty or, because we never saw, I shouldn't say we never saw it. We probably didn't understand it growing up as well.
Just labelled it differently.
Well,
the naughty kid, or the one that just can't pay attention, or if they just paid attention and didn't talk to their friends, they'd get great scores and stuff, yeah.
Well, that's exactly right.
But I think that I guess people to understand that, like, there was things like when Eli was like little, and I was just like, hold my breath. Is he going to get invited to this party that everyone's talking about? Like, just because he's different. And I still now go, I hope these kids are friends with him because they like him for who he is. And like, it's just always this fear that he's going to get rejected and not be liked and loved for who he is. And that's why I've always, and like, if there's a kid that doesn't, maybe a little bit loud or like whatever, just invite them. Don't exclude children just because, and teach the kids to go, okay, so little Johnny just needs a little bit more time. He may come a little bit later because he gets overwhelmed at the start, or just, just be compassionate to everyone, because you don't even need to be diagnosed. You can have anxiety or depression or other OCD. There's so many, or PDA. There's so many other acronyms and diagnoses that people don't know what's going on in other people's lives. And
I was just going to say that there is that saying about, everyone's fighting a battle that you don't know.
Yeah.
So you should be kind and compassionate. Yeah. And on that note, you were saying, you're worried he wasn't going to be invited to any parties. And do you still feel that way now? I know he's changed, as you explained, but is that still in your head a little bit sometimes?
I think it'll always be. I don't know. It'll always be that, that fear of, because he's so unique, as all children are. He is so unique, but he's found his little crew. At school, he's got a couple of kids, and so much so that he's actually got two brothers that are Muslim. They've just finished Ramadan.
Oh, the same kids, I think, that he was friends with when he told me when he was working with me.
Probably.
Yeah.
And he's just done his second Ramadan. He's fasted.
Oh, well, because I remember he did that first one and he goes, I'm hungry on this.
I know. Yeah,
but I said to him, good on you for doing it, because he wanted to experience what it was like.
Well, he wanted to also show his
part
friends.
Of something. Yeah.
No, but I think he wants to show his friends that they're suffering, so he'll join them, and he didn't want to eat in front of them. So it's that compassionate, that kindness, and that really amazing heart that he has. But, oh, my God, I wish he wouldn't have done it, because it was very physical and mental to this one, because I think it was such long, hot days and things like that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. He's all in, and he's got another group of friends that they're actually older. They're in year 12 this year, but who are, without a doubt, they're all on this,
spectrum,
diverse in many ways.
I think a lot of us are, we've all got our quirkiness, our uniqueness.
Yeah, but these kids, they just get Eli, and they don't care that he wants to talk about seals, which is his new hyper focus.
Oh, great.
Sea lions, seals. They'll just listen, or they'll ask questions, or there's an anime that they all like, and they just talk about it for hours. And so he's just found his little crew, and I think that's what's so amazing.
That's great.
I think finding somewhere where you belong, and it really sort of supports his well-being.
And that's the hardest thing, right? And that's for anyone, not just any neurodivergent. Finding your crew. I know I struggled a lot as a kid, and even as a grown-ass adult. Yeah. But, finding the people that get you.
Yeah, and that you can be yourself around. And I think that's the thing. Because Eli knows how to act. He knows when to mask around people that don't get him. So but he also knows, like, he's got his little routines. Like, he doesn't like a lot of like physical touch. So he gives me, like at nighttime, he's got his routine that he comes and gives me a hug before bed. And it's like, and he'll do it no matter what. So it's not like I have to ask for it, which is so sweet. And if he forgets, he'll come in and do it. And if he forgets his own, he'll do it again. So it's sort of like, it's really lovely, but it's a routine thing. And it's like this sort of thing, because he doesn't like or like understand why you kiss or hug someone.
Yeah. But he does it.
He does it. Because he knows that it's what I need.
Yeah. And that's what I find, what people don't understand. These guys are so empathetic and really can feel the emotions of other people. And through my working with them, I've noticed that a lot. And the other thing, and definitely I'm sure you'll attest to this with Eli, they do not give up. They will give something a crack, and it's going to be all or nothing. I will do it until I get it.
Just like with Eli with Ramadan, I think he actually lost like 6 or 7 kilos.
Oh, I wish I did.
2 weeks in. No, he doesn't. He can't.
No, he doesn't need to, but I certainly do.
But he wouldn't actually go. It's like, well, maybe you should stop. He goes, no, I've started. I can't stop.
Yeah.
All right, we're just going to write it out.
And that's what I mean, even with the training, right? And I'm sure school's the same. We used to do the boxing, and he would just be determined to get it. He would go away and practice, and then I knew when I'd see him again, he'd get it. Yeah. It wouldn't even have to be a question. And I'm very much like that too. So, maybe that's a bit of me in there as well. As a parent now, how have you seen yourself change from that time where you got the diagnosis, where you're navigating your way through the journey of your 2 kids, and then struggling with the system, and we've come now to this point. How have you sort of changed? How have you seen yourself change?
I'm definitely, well, I think it's hard because there's so many things happen in between. Like studying really made me, like my parenting. I wish I did my early childhood degree before I had kids, because my understanding of children's development and sort of growth changed during that stage as well. So it was around Eli's diagnosis as well as my study that I was like, oh my God, I was doing everything wrong. Not wrong, but not quite right. So I'm more understanding. I will sit there and let Eli info dump on me. I am not interested in seals at all.
Don't let him hear that.
No, I tell him I'm not interested, but I'm listening. And they'll ask the right questions in the right places. So I've learned to sort of manage things because my sensory overload as well. Like if I've been at work, the last thing I want to be talked at and followed around the house being spoken about things that don't interest me. But I think I'm a more compassionate and slower, and I think I'm hoping I'm a better mum. I'm a fighter because
you certainly are.
I had to I actually rented out a house for my nephew to live in to get Eli into the different school. We couldn't move.
Wow.
Even though that was an extreme sort of bullying sort of situation at the school. The department says there's no spots. You can't. You have to just work with the school. And
so it had nothing to do with where you were located, but it was simply that they didn't have spots. Is that what you're saying?
No, so all the schools around our area are zoned.
Zoned or something. Is that what it is, zoned?
They're zoned, but within reason, they should be able to find him a spot. And I was like,
absolutely.
No, there's one further out that wasn't right for Eli. And I was like, come on, like, why can't you get me in? So we rented a house in our name, got him in, and then as soon as the year was up, he left, and now we've just said, we've moved home. But we had to, because we needed him a place to go, and it was a pretty, what if it didn't work? We've done all of that, spent all that money, and it didn't work, but it has been the best decision. So it's like it's a roller coaster ride of is things going to work? How do we cope? And he's now at 16. Every 16-year-old doesn't want their mum looking over their shoulder, have you done your homework?
And you said he's working as well, yeah?
Yeah, he's at Macca's. He's working at Macca's.
Oh, nice, because he did say that to me. Yeah. How's he going there?
Oh, he doesn't like it, but he's got a means to, and he doesn't spend the money. Like, he's got $8,000 saved. He just doesn't spend it. I know, it's more money than me. But he just saves and he works and he's doing it. He said he's been there 12 months now.
Wow, I definitely didn't have $8,000 at 16. Good on him.
Me, no. I didn't have $8,000 at 30. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
But so he's doing that. He goes to the gym. He does. He plays basketball. He does calisthenics. He and his friends go and meet this group of people every Sunday at the place and do like push-ups, and there's just these guys that just get together and exercise and do and teach each other and learn, and then they go out for dinner and he comes home. Like, he's
like the poster boy for neurodivergent.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and he's found his interest, and I think it's all about the physical.
That's so good.
But
we've almost come to the end.
Yeah.
So, she's so happy. You got to go cook, right? Is that right?
No.
So my question is, with everything that we've talked about, what are you most proud of? And this doesn't have to relate to your kids. It can relate to yourself as well.
Oh, gosh, that's really hard. I'm most proud of both of my boys, of that they've overcome hurdles in both their lives of whatever it is. And I think myself being their rock, I think being that person that they always come to, and they share everything with me. They like the good, bad, and the ugly. And I think that creating that environment where they feel they can actually do that is, I think, really important. And I think I'm very proud of that.
That's very, very nice, because a lot of kids out there don't have that.
No.
Different circumstances, environment, and unfortunately they don't get that. So that's really, really nice to hear. What do you hope people can take away from hearing your story?
Oh, gosh. I guess firstly, being compassionate, don't exclude, be inclusive, be welcome to diversity, because if you actually get to know someone that has these amazing brains, you won't look back, because they've got so much to give and so much love. And I guess as a mum or a parent, don't give up, don't take no. There is so much support out there and so much help. Reach out to the schools, the kinders, the psychologists, anyone, and get them to help you, because there is so many sort of avenues and so many amazing people out there that can help.
It's don't really give nice.
Up. And
really, really good. And just the last one, is there anything that we haven't spoken about or discussed? We've just discussed a lot, but is there anything that you want to add to what we've talked about today?
Well, I definitely think people should come and see you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. You can do my PR. Thanks.
Well, I've actually in the past sent lots of messages out on Facebook, because you are amazing.
Thank you.
You have helped Eli and me having our chats, and knowing that I can just email you and go, this is what happened at school, so then you can touch on it with him. But I think you should definitely be putting yourself more out there, because you are amazing. And
thank you. I'm trying, but what can I say? This is why I'm doing this as well.
Yeah.
To get the information out there. And there's a lot of people out there that don't understand, and talking to parents, especially of the kids that I've worked with, gives it a whole new element, a whole new understanding, I think. But thank you for that.
But I think that people actually think boxing, something physical, we don't want our kids to be hurting other people, but it's not about that. It's that learning that discipline, it's learning that understanding your body, and to also be able to defend yourself. I think, especially if you're being bullied at school, to know that you have the strength and you have the ability to go, no, stop.
And that's exactly right. And that's what I aim to do. I teach them to fight so they don't. But the problem is, when you're talking education department, as soon as they hear martial arts or boxing, It's even in corrections when I was working and trying to introduce it in there, it was, oh, but it encourages violence. Well, actually, it doesn't. Not the way I teach it. And obviously you can attest to that. And a lot of the other parents that I've worked with, their kids can attest to that. But I think there's this fear, or rather lack of knowledge in understanding. And there's research out there that actually shows that martial arts and boxing actually helps.
Well, do you know, Eli still to this day, he actually says something like, oh, if they tried to hurt me, I could run faster than. So he always talks about that he can run faster. He knows he can get away. Because
that's right. And that's what I've taught him. And I say that to all of them. Don't stand there and try and be Bruce Lee, right?
Get out of it.
If you have the opportunity to run, and I'm the same, and, you know, I'm multidisciplined, but if someone's going to try and take me on, what you think I'm going to sit there and try and fight, I'm going to bolt. Why am I going to do that? Because we know, and the other thing I also teach is obviously, you know, using your voice and your body, whatever. But if you're going to sit there and try and fight, I would recommend just run. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you smart.
Yeah. But also I think, like I was saying earlier, that Eli, he learns better when he's moving. It's like a lot of ADHD. Like you've got those squishy, the seat cushions that kids sit on to help them focus, and not having to have eye contact or to be able to do things like punching a bag while talking about things meant that it's sort of taking it away, and it means
and that's exactly right, because when you're sitting, and, you know, I'm a therapist as well, so when you're sitting, not everyone can sit at a table across from a psychologist, and, you know, I did the same when I went, and I was an adult, so that physicality of distracting from the conversation and having that physical element opens up, you know, it's a different way of processing, and it opens up the way these guys, you know, talk about stuff. And that's, you know, through my experience over the last how many years, you get that information quicker, I feel, than you do sitting down and trying to have a chat.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for today. I really appreciate you taking the time. And say hi to Eli.
I will.
And, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome.